In beautiful North Yorkshire, in the pretty town of Kirby Moorside, lives auctioneer Angus Ashworth.
110, commission's out, 110 in the room.
Here he runs his auction house.
I am selling at £1,800.
With his devoted team of valuers.
Wow, this is amazing.
Auction clerks.
The electric shock machine. A few of my staff could do with this.
And removal men.
It suits you, that, you know.
Do you think?
Together they help people up and down the country clear their cluttered homes.
Oh my goodness, did all that come out of my house?
Yes.
Using his years of knowledge,
That's probably one of the most valuable 50p's there is.
Angus finds gems.
This is a fantastic collection.
Heirlooms.
Oh, look at that. I think that's one of the best things on the job, that.
Treasures.
That takes me back to being a 12-year-old boy, that does.
And the weird and wonderful.
We like horses, don't we? Wow. OK.
Which he brings back to the auction house.
It's the best silver in the world, isn't it? Yorkshire silver.
To put under his gavel.
65, 75, 85, 90, is it?
Making them a tidy.
£1,200, £1,300, £1,400.
Little.
£20,800.
Sum.
I think I need a light done.
Right, lads. We've got a job to go do.
Right.
A lot of antique stuff. A really nice job. We'll get loaded up and get away as soon as you can.
Right.
Brilliant.
All right then.
From clocks to figurines to furniture, Victorian antiques are a common sight in any auction house, and Angus sells hundreds every month. Today, he's been called to a job in the Derbyshire town of Alfreton that sounds like a Victorian bonanza, and he's taking his favourite buckaroos, Pete and Gary.
Well, we're off to Derbyshire.
I saw a sign for Alton Towers.
It feels like it, don't you, with this driving?
It feels like we're on a dog jump.
Angus and the boys are off to meet Margaret and her daughter Maria. This house has been the family home since Margaret and her antique-loving husband Lenny moved here 45 years ago.
Met Lenny at Denby Pottery. We both worked there. I was only 15 at the time, and I used to see him walking about and I used to think, oh, he's nice. But he was so shy he wouldn't ask me out, so he had to get somebody else to do it for him. And we've been together ever since.
When they moved into a 19th century home shortly after they were married, Lenny set about returning it to its former Victorian glory.
Lenny's passion was for Victorian stuff.
There's lots of collections of lots of things, so it's not such a hoarder, but a collector, I'd say. And it had to be true and genuine to Victorian, or he wouldn't have it.
That's why he picked me.
But after nearly 60 years together, Margaret has had to adjust to life without Lenny.
Lenny passed away July the 3rd last year from a brain tumour. We weren't expecting it straight away. We knew it would come in, but it's still like a shock.
Keeping on top of the housework in a home packed full of Lenny's collectibles and antiques has become a struggle for Margaret.
There is a lot of stuff. I wouldn't like to think that I'd have to dust around everything.
It's not that I don't like the stuff, I think it's beautiful, but it's just too much at a minute now. Too old.
You're too old. You're not too old.
Sounds like it could be quite a good job.
Right.
Although it was her husband's collection, it wasn't really hers. It's probably quite sad for her to see it go. I'll pop in and meet them and you get some boxes made up and see what's what.
Hello.
Oh, you all right?
Yes, thank you.
Come on in. Come in.
Thank you. Oh, coat's coming off. Look at that wonderful open fire. What a house. I mean, it's wonderful, isn't it? A lot of clocks.
Just a few. Lenny were a collector.
Yeah.
Just didn't know when to stop. I think even if he were alive now, he'd still be collecting.
A lifelong passion.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to have a look round.
Right.
Over the years, Lenny collected over 30 Victorian clocks, which are scattered throughout the house.
Wow, look at all these clocks.
We did start with a few and then it just got obsessed.
Servant's bell, that won't be to go, will it?
Yes, it
Yeah?
is. Yeah, that's definitely going.
Oh, that's fantastic.
From the 18th century onwards, sprung bells on wires were used in large houses to summon the servants. But by the late Victorian era, electrified bellboards like this one had become popular.
We wired it up so it clicked. When he wanted a cup of tea,
Yeah.
just have it clicking in the living room.
That's brilliant, I
Yeah.
love that.
Lenny's pride and joy was the Victorian Parlour, where he showcased his collections.
Wow.
Yes, there's quite a lot of the collection in here.
I mean, this is a Victorian parlour and a half, isn't it?
Yes,
So what are we sort of potentially looking at to go from in here?
most of it.
Right, OK.
Clocks, fossils,
Yeah,
things in that cabinet.
you're going to keep us busy, aren't you?
Yes.
Right, I best get started then.
That's right, Angus. The clock is ticking, all 34 of them.
Right, lads. A lot of packing. A lot of clocks. But time is against us. Come on.
Boom, boom.
Most of Lenny's collection of clocks were made in America in the late 19th or early 20th century.
A lot of these are what we'd call a drop dial wall clock. Drop dial has a compartment below, so it can have an extended length pendulum on it. You get a standard drum movement, but the really special ones that are more sought after and command at higher prices, the ones with a fusee movement. Now that's where the cogs are tapered like a cone.
Clock springs are tighter when fully wound, making timekeeping less accurate. But this was fixed by the invention of the fusee.
You can get a single fusee, you can get a double fusee, and very rare is a triple fusee. And that's a real sign of quality. And they can range massively in value. Standard ones that are 70 to 100 pounds, some that are more than that, 300 to 500. I'm really gonna have a look at all the movements. But clocks is a subject that a lot of people are fascinated by. And you know, there's something quite reassuring about an old clock ticking away on the wall.
Leaving Pete and Gary with plenty of time on their hands, what else of Lenny's has caught Angus's eye?
I absolutely love fossils and gemstones. Living near the Jurassic coast of Whitby, I used to go up onto the beaches when I was kids and used to find Ammonites like this. But the star of this cabinet for me is this Blue John. Blue John can only be found in 2 caverns in Derbyshire.
It's thought that Blue John gets its name from the French words for blue and yellow, bleu et jaune.
It's just a joy of colours. You've got these blues and yellows, see all these patterns and shapes in it, and fractures and cracks, and there's just something about it. It's almost alive.
Many of Lenny's rocks and fossils were collected as a family on Whitby Beach.
I remember looking for fossils with my dad. I used to go with him doing metal detecting, pick things up from there. It'll be sad to see some of them go. It's just I know that somebody else will appreciate them more.
Margaret lost her husband last year and been together since she was 16. And to lose him, you know, will leave a big hole in her life. For Maria, I mean, she grew up here. She was always surrounded by this. This was her dad. Seeing his whole collection go will be tough, but it's our job to make sure that we take those items, we sell them and do the best we can for them.
I'm hoping once everything's gone that we'll actually be able to see the wallpaper again and make room for sort of my little bits. I can put more cats and dogs,
Yeah,
animals. Depend on how much money we get for the stuff. We could do with a bit of maintenance on the house because it's so old and it's getting a bit decrepit. And I'd like to go to the Cotswolds.
We need another holiday, I think.
To raise enough cash to fix Margaret's leaky roof and pay for a holiday, Angus will need to find a lot to sell.
Everything on the bed and the gramophone.
Yes.
Right, well, I best get it all packed up then.
But luckily, there's no shortage of treasure in this incredible house. 3 hours in, the van is piling up, but things are still coming out of the woodwork.
I mean, there's just the most wonderful array of, I suppose, antique boxes. We've got all this brass reinforcing, and now that is typical of campaign furniture. Correspondence was hugely important for the army, any officers, and they would have taken a box like this as a campaign writing box. And it was a portable piece of furniture that's a desk, correspondence, storage, and all sorts. And it wasn't just writing slopes. No officer should travel without a decanter box with a good claret or a brandy in it.
After 6 hours of hard graft for Angus and the boys, the van is full and Margaret and Maria can see the fruits of their labour.
Well, it's empty now.
I can dust.
You can dust now.
And yes.
Yeah, it looks a lot nicer.
How does it feel, sort of seeing it mostly cleared out? I mean,
I can't believe it. I can't believe how big it looks now. Because it's been so cluttered for all years I've been here.
Yeah. Well, Pete and Gary all raring to go, so we'll hit the road and we'll see you on auction day. We've got a lot of work to do when we get back.
And there's a lot more than you thought.
Yes, yes, yeah.
It's been a long day, but it's been worth it, I think.
It's just a nice beginning, I suppose, isn't it, for you to get some of your stamp on it,
My
I think,
little
more so.
bits. When I see people at the auction buying it, it will be a bit weird, but then you know they're buying it because they appreciate it.
Absolutely. And now you've got no excuse not to have a dust-free house.
That's right.
A job like this, there's a lot of lots, there's a lot of sorting and cataloguing to do. So you think we'd be all right for time with the 30 clocks that we've got on the van, but sadly, stand still for no one. Hopefully we'll get the sale online in time. I've got a lot of work to do.
Best hurry back, Angus. It will be auction day before you know it.
Hey, Jack.
Oh, we got another full one.
From Derbyshire.
Oh, lovely Derbyshire.
Margaret and Maria's items have arrived back at Kirby Moorside, and valuer Jack is keen to see what there is.
Fancy a quick game of chess, Jack?
Oh, that is a lovely set. This is a fantastic marquetry design on this. It's a shame, really, that we've lost this sort of artwork.
Could use it as a little side table.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can imagine sat in your parlour with a glass of port on it, but it's also a sewing table.
I think it's fantastic.
I was in the chess team at school, you know, Jack.
All right. I was as well.
Were you?
Yeah.
We'll have to have a game.
No games until you've done your homework, Jack. Angus has brought you back some china to investigate.
These items were recovered from the Texing or True Start trading ship. The Texing sunk in 1822 and took down with it 1,800 lives. That's more than the Titanic, just to give you an idea of how many people unfortunately lost their lives.
In 1999, British marine salvager Michael Hatcher discovered the wreck of the Texing off the coast of Indonesia and recovered 350,000 pieces of china from the cargo, many of which were later sold at auction.
So that has sunk to the bottom of the sea, and they've also been underwater for 178 years. And the colour is remarkably still well kept in them. These are sort of run-of-the-mill Chinese ornamental pots, but because they've come from the Texing and the history and the circumstances around it, that adds the value to the item.
These bowls could attract keen collectors come auction day. Angus is taking a look at another fascinating piece of history collected by Lenny.
Late 19th century was a marvellous era for inventions, and this is one of those inventions, the phonograph, invented by Thomas Edison in 1877. It is basically the prelude to the record player. This was a revolution. You know, imagine being able to play music home rather than having to go to the concert halls or hearing live music. Not only did it give a great bit of home entertainment, it is completely portable. You take the horn off, top goes on, completely portable music device. You could go play music in the park if you really wanted to. If you had that in your home in the 1880s, I mean, that would have been quite impressive.
Margaret and Maria have made the 2-hour drive up to Kirby Moorside to watch Lenny's collection go under the gavel.
Hello.
Morning, how are you doing?
All right, thank you.
All right, good. Very busy viewing day yesterday. We had a lot of people in, so hopefully that translates to some good results.
Yeah, it's going to be strange seeing it here rather than in the house.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it always looks different. Come on in, have a look round, give us a shout if you need anything.
All
Brilliant.
right, thank you very much. A little bit nervous.
I've never been to an auction, have I? And
No,
you haven't, so
no.
I've no idea what it's going to be like. It's kind of exciting and also kind of,
Sad.
I don't know, yeah. You can't be sentimental about everything.
No. That one is
Oh, wow, they're all here.
Grief. I can't remember your dad bringing half of these. I can remember him bringing that one.
I remember him fixing them because there was always the table in the kitchen.
One. Look lovely, don't they?
They do look lovely, yeah, they do.
Think I ought to buy them back?
No.
Margaret, I'm going to have to get some good results because I can see her being quite, giving me the look when I'm on the rostrum. It's just a little bit traditional for the current market. I don't know, we'll have to see. But I'm hoping they'll be happy.
It's the moment of truth for Lenny's collection. Charlotte and Jack are powering up the PCs for the online bids, and Gary is ready and waiting for portering duties. As Margaret and Maria take their seats and Angus ascends his rostrum, the auction can begin.
You're going to have to try not to laugh all the way through this,
First up, it's Lenny's Edison phonograph.
Got bids all over for this. 160, 170, 180, 180, 190, 190 and bid at 190. At £190 it is then with all the wax cylinders at 200, thank you, back in. At 210, 220, thank you, at 220, 230, 240. Rounded up to 250, 250, thank you. At 250 for the Edison at 250.
Sold to a collector in France. Now for the height of Victorian smart home technology. It's the oak case servants bellboard.
The servants bellboard, there we go. We're at 48.50, 50 and bid at 50, 555, 55, 60 and bid at 60. At £60, 5, thank you, sir, 65 in the room, 75, sir, 75, 80, 85, 85. It's in the room at £85. Don't mistake it, I'm selling to the room at 85, all done at 85.
Ding dong.
Oh.
Next up, it's a piece of the campaign furniture.
This is nice, this is what you want for Christmas, the decanter box. 70 and bid at 70. At £70 it is, then at 75, 85, 95, 100. At 100 we're out, then at 100 we're all done for the mahogany decanter box. I'm selling away then at £100.
An online bidder will be enjoying a tipple from the decanter box very soon. Now, guess what time it is?
The first of the clocks. There's a lot of clocks in this house.
This clock is a late 19th century walnut drop dial.
There we go. Neck comes straight in at 70. Five's it now. £75 surely. 75, 80, 85, 90. £90 at 90. Five's it now. 95, 95, 100. Bid at 100. Don't see these every day. At 110 is it now. 110 is it surely. £100 at 110 anywhere is it now.
He's looking at that, bless him.
At 110 it is, then at 110. We're all done at 110.
A North Yorkshire bidder has bagged the clock.
That was good.
Yeah.
Over the next 15 minutes,
60.
Angus makes time fly
At 65.
as he puts 32 more of Lenny's clocks under the gavel.
At £80.
Clocking a total of £1,654.
Well done.
Yeah.
Next, it's the 4 blue and white lotus pattern china bowls that were lost at sea in 1822.
Oh.
This better do well.
The treasure of Tech Sing. It's crawling up 42, 58, 55, 55, 55, 55. 60 anywhere is it now? At £60. At £60 at 65 anywhere is it now? £70 at 70. A bit of history for you. At £70 at 70 at 75. Thank you. £75. 75. We're all done at 75 then. 80. £80 it is then at £80 at 80 at £80.
Better.
Over the next 40 minutes, Angus puts over 100 more of Lenny's items under the gavel, including the Victorian sewing table with inlaid chessboard,
75.
the walnut and brass campaign writing slope,
The 80.
and the shard of Blue John mineral.
At 75.
That's good, isn't it?
Finally, after nearly 2 hours and 155 lots, is the last one of the day, a collection of fossils including an ammonite found on Whitby beach.
I'm going to be more nervous about this now.
A lot of interest in this.
Oh, I don't want to see.
Various bids, 60, 100, 120, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, 210. It's a great lot, this. At £210, we're stalled at 210. At 220, fresh bid, 230. 240 is it now? 240 bid, 250 bid, 250 and bid. Some great specimens here. At 250 it is, then at 260 back in. At £260 it is then. At 260, all done, gavels up. At 260.
Ooh, that's done well.
An online bidder must really dig those fossils.
Is that it then?
Yeah, that's all done.
Good grief. I've gone numb.
Margaret will be spending the money raised today on a holiday in the Cotswolds, with the rest going towards her leaky roof. So how much will they be taking back to Derbyshire?
Hello.
That's what they fetch. Hello.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you have any voice left. Forget how much stuff he had, really, don't you?
Oh, I know,
Dad?
till you sit down and watch it all go. How do they fit it all in ours?
I suppose you'd like to know how much you'll be taking home.
Yeah. Go on then.
Don't sound so bad. She always like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, you'll be taking home £6,147.
There you
A
go.
bit more than I thought then.
There you go.
A little
then.
bit more than you thought. Yes. Overall, they've had some good results, and there's one or two things that did particularly well. I'm certainly pleased, and I think as a complete collection, it did well. And it was nice to have a sale room full of real nice, traditional, proper antiques.
We did really well, I thought.
I think some things went for more than we thought they were going to do. Money will go towards the hole in the roof.
Maybe me, maybe buy me a coffee.
Might buy you coffee, yeah.
Maybe I'll get a coffee out of it at the end of it.
From collectibles to heirlooms, all kinds of unusual items come through the doors of the Yorkshire Auction House. And Angus and Jack are heading back to Derbyshire on the hunt for more.
It's not too bad a run, is it? Chesterfield, famous for the Spire, isn't it?
Yes, they're off to Chesterfield, the home of the unique-looking church of St Mary and All Saints.
They used green oak. They didn't let it season, and then when it dried out, twisted. It almost looks magical. You know, a wizard would live there or something.
Today, Angus will be trying to work his magic for Diane and her daughter Grace. They are waiting at the house that used to belong to Diane's parents, Ted and Dorothy.
My mother and father, they built the house in 1953 and they never moved, so all the items that are in here, they never threw anything away. My father, Ted, passed away in May 2019 and my mother 18 months afterwards in the September of 2020. Sadly missed, so difficult times.
For the last 2 years, the house has remained empty while Diane's tried to come to terms with letting go of her childhood home.
They built this house with love when they first got married and had you here. It will be a shame if we did sell it.
But as for the items, I've come up here every week and I've sat here and I've enjoyed them, so now's the time to see everything go. Sadly, because there is so much stuff, I've not been able to get very far.
I think it's just getting our lives back because this is just on our shoulders a lot, and I think it's time now to say goodbye, really.
Yeah.
Diane's reached the point where she's gone as far as she can. She needs a bit of help. What's saleable, what's not. It's very hard because people are emotionally attached, and sometimes you need somebody to come in and just, you know, rip that plaster off.
Exactly.
I'm not quite sure what we're going to find. It's going to be a bit of all sorts.
As well as the 6 decades worth of furniture in the home of Ted and Dorothy, the house is also full of Dorothy's extensive collection of glassware and other trinkets.
My mother was a great collector from a Thursday market. She had a good eye. I found a lot of things that have been, certainly an investigation, have been of value. So I'm just hoping Angus agrees.
You'll soon find out, Diane. He's almost here.
I think this is it here. Hi, you're right.
Angus, good to see you.
And you. I've got Jack with me today.
Hi, Jack. Nice to meet you. Come in. Have a seat.
Thank you very much. So, I'm right in thinking you're looking to clear the house as much as possible?
I've been trying to clear it for 2 years, and this is what's left.
There must be a lot of memories, and I suspect a few things that haven't changed over the years.
Yeah, definitely. We used to come up most Sundays, didn't we, for our Sunday lunch. It's exactly the same, hasn't changed, and coming up here now every time, you think right back to being a 6-year-old again, I guess.
Well, I'd love to have a look round. I mean, Jack, do you want to have a look through the glass and bits in here,
Yep,
and shall we look round the rest of the house?
That would be wonderful.
Wow, so this is some of your mum's glassware. Clearly like the Murano style and the gondolas.
Yeah, this is like the perfect spot for them. Like, they look so beautiful here.
Now, my mother loved a gondola. Back in the 70s, these were ashtrays, and everybody that went to Venice brought one home. And every gondola that ended up on the Thursday market ended up in this house.
Since the 13th century, the Venetian island of Murano has been famous for its glassware. Many 20th century Murano pieces have a distinctive two-tone design. Coloured glass is dipped into molten glass of a different colour before being blown into shape. It's a technique known as sommerso, from the Italian word submerged.
Well, we can definitely do something with those.
Good.
We will find somebody that will love it just as much as your mum did.
Yeah.
Diane has been using one of the bedrooms to sort through her mum's collection of Royal Copenhagen china.
That's just a small amount. There must be over 100 or more.
Each year, the Danish China Company releases a special edition Christmas plate for people to give as gifts. And Dorothy was a dedicated collector.
Did this become a bit of a family tradition? Every year you'd get that year's plate?
Yeah.
That was our Christmas present.
So, all the Copenhagen's to go. I mean, is it a case of you're all happy for me to go through and anything in here
Yes.
that we can do something
Yeah,
with, we can
definitely.
take? Right, well, I best have a look around then and see what we can do.
Great.
I love the house because it's like stepping back in time. It's taken them 2 years to get to this point, so it's obviously been quite emotional for them. That's where having somebody like us come in is a bit easier. We can do it a lot faster. Hopefully we take the weight off Diane's shoulders, and, you know, she's got her daughter Grace here to support her, so I'm sure they'll be all right.
As well as clearing the house, there's another reason why Diane is hoping for a good day at auction.
What we hope to do is go and visit my other daughter, who's been in Australia for 2.5 years, who we've not seen, and this, any proceeds would go towards that.
Time is getting on, and it's still a 2-hour trip back to Kirby Moorside. But with everything Angus wants to take loaded onto the van, Diane's asked him to have a look at some medals.
We've actually got a family group here, and it starts with the First World War pair, and that's made up of the War Medal and the Victory Medal.
Everyone who served in the armed forces of the British Empire during World War I received the British War Medal, while those who saw battle overseas were also awarded the Victory Medal.
Around the edge we have all the details, the service number, the rank, private, and the name, T.H. Wheatcroft. I suspect he was probably killed in action, and these have been sent out to the next of kin, possibly his wife or his mother.
Diane's great-grandfather, Thomas, died in battle at Flanders in August 1918, aged just 31.
So as a little group like that, maybe sort of 50 to 80, and that seems nothing for somebody who gave their life. But to put that into perspective, there was nearly 6 million of these medals issued. That's how big the First World War was.
Diane's father, Ted, also served in the army.
And we've got this one, which is the Africa General Service Medal. And this one's got Elizabeth II on it, and it's got the class for Kenya. So he served in Kenya. These don't do huge amounts of money. They're sort of 60 to 80. Medal collecting is a fascinating thing, and there's loads of collectors out there. We just love history, and yeah, everything tells a story.
The medals join the rest of Dorothy and Ted's possessions on the van to be taken back to the auction house. With her mum's precious collections now all packed away, Diane can see how much Angus has achieved.
Well, I know we haven't totally emptied the house, but we have broken the back of it.
Never realised those units were so big and spacious.
I suppose really it was the glass collection and, of course, the Copenhagen that was probably most pertinent to your mum.
It's sad in a way. I'll see it one last time, maybe, at the auction. So,
From afar.
From afar, but yeah, well, it needed to go. It's certainly looking like an empty house now. Thank you very much indeed.
Lovely to meet you both.
It's lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Al. Bye. Right, van's all loaded, that's us. I think certainly it's made a substantial dent in the house clearances. They haven't actually got that much left to get it done, so that's going to make it a lot easier for them. There's one or two things that are yesterday's market. The glassware is not quite hot at the moment, so hopefully they do get away and that there's nothing to come back.
Today went really smoothly. I've had mixed emotions about the medals of my father and my great-grandfather, who was in World War I. But, yeah, it's an era that's gone now, and we look to the future.
It's going to be, hopefully, some surprises, and hopefully we raise lots of money ready for our trip away.
Flights to Australia aren't cheap, Angus, so you'd best make every sale count on auction day.
Hi, Angus.
Hey, Nick, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Got some good stuff?
Yeah, it's an interesting mixed collection, really. There's a bit of all sorts.
All the items Angus collected from Dorothy and Ted's house have arrived back at Kirby Moorside, and Valuer Nick is lending a hand with the unload.
This is one of my favourite bits off the job. Nice, looking like probably Edwardian, late Victorian little money box.
Yeah,
But it's done like a little post box.
big coins in the day.
Well, the old Victorian pennies were quite big, weren't they?
Yeah.
I just thought that was a real sweet little thing, really. And then...
Another one.
not a money box, but it is secret. Ah, there we go, look.
Nicely made, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And secret compartment to sit on the bookshelf, isn't it?
Yeah. Quite handy if you've got something to hide.
Everything will need to be broken into lots, researched and catalogued before the auction in a few weeks' time.
Whenever we think of Danish ceramics and porcelain, there's one company that really jumps to mind, and that's Royal Copenhagen. And Royal Copenhagen was founded in 1775, but the first Christmas plates were actually brought out by a different company, Bing and Grondal, and that was in 1895. In that sort of Nordic culture, for hundreds of years, it's been the tradition that at Christmas, the servants would be given a decorated plate. And that was obviously capitalised on at the end of the 19th century as a nice gift to give to people in general. Now, these companies actually merged in the 1980s, and they're now just under Royal Copenhagen. And the tradition of the Christmas plate has gone on every year. And hopefully, there's a lot of people out there that want Christmas plates from years past.
Diane and Grace have made the 100-mile journey north to Kirby Moorside to watch Dorothy and Ted's things go under the gavel.
I've been thinking about these a lot since the clearance.
Well, Grandad's medals and all the bits. It was just national service. They sent them out to Kenya.
I still don't know enough about it.
He was out there for 2 years.
Is it really that long?
That long.
I always wanted one of these.
Did you?
Well, you are allowed to buy things, so... You excited?
Very excited.
Oh, no pressure then. Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to sort of seeing sell?
I'm looking forward to seeing you on the rostrum and just the speed at which you go at. How do you know when to put the gavel down at the right moment? And
Well,
who's going to bid online?
Sometimes they come in right at the last on the wire and give me a bit of a heart attack. Yeah, have a look round. Give a shout if you need anything. I'll see you up on the rostrum in a bit.
Okay.
Right.
Great.
I think we should get a few interesting results. They've got all sorts in them. Sadly, the thing that they're probably going to be most emotionally attached to is the thing that's probably going to be the hardest thing to sell, and that's those Christmas plates.
It's not just the plates that might be hard to let go of.
The item I'm worried about going is my granddad's medal, and I wonder if that was a good choice to put it in the auction.
I don't know. Had we got boys in the family or people that were interested in it, what's going to happen to it? It's just going to go into a drawer.
Yeah.
You know, that's why.
Too sentimental.
Yeah, you have to let some things go.
Well, there's no turning back now because it's auction time. Jasper and Jack will be overseeing today's internet bids, and Gary has dusted off his brown coat for portering duties. With everyone in their seats, it's time for Angus to get the show on the road.
There we go. Right, we're all good.
First up, it's 18 pieces of Dorothy's Murano-style glassware.
Have a gondola.
Yeah, Murano. Studio glassware there, including the gondolas. This does not include a trip to Venice. But I've got several bids on this. 18, 20, 30, 5, 8, 42, 45, 48, 55, 55 pound. At 55 it is 65, 70, commission's out. 70 pound it is then at 70, at 70 pounds at 70. For the gondolas at 70. We're all done. I'm going to sell then at 70 pounds.
A room bidder grabs the gondolas. Angus moves on to Dorothy's collection of Danish porcelain. It's 37 Christmas plates by Bing and Grondel and Royal Copenhagen.
This is the lot you've all been waiting for. Get them before Christmas.
It's my inheritance.
£30 start me.
Oh dear, no bids.
There's a lot of them. They're nice. You don't have to use them, you know, for Christmas. You can use them as a nice plate. £30 for him. 30. 30 bid, thank you. 30 and bid at £30 it is, then at 30 at 2 anywhere is it now? 32 it is, then 32, 35 we're off at £35 they've woken up. 55 it is, then at 35.
Sold to a bidder down the road in Pickering. Now it's the medals, starting with the War Medal and Victory Medal awarded posthumously to T.W. Wheatcroft, Diane's great-grandfather.
With the associated paperwork, which is quite nice. 55, 65, 75, 85, £85, 85 it is, then at 85. £85 at £85 at 85.
Sold to a collector in Wiltshire for just over the estimate.
Wow.
Now for the medal awarded to Grace's grandfather, Ted, after completing his national service in Kenya.
Medal there with Kenya class.
Don't want this to
There we go. Various paperwork with it there. There we go. 48, 50, 50 and bid. Surely now 50 at 55. 60 is it now? 65, 75, 85, 90. £90 and bid at 90. At 90 it is. Then at 90. 95. Anywhere is it now? At 90. At £90 at 90.
Poor Grace. Saying goodbye to her grandfather's medal has been really tough. At least it will be cherished by its new owner, a collector of militaria. Over the next 15 minutes, Angus puts the rest of Dorothy and Ted's things under the gavel. From a selection of Bohemian-style glass, including 2 cranberry glass pots,
£20 at 20.
to a suite of G-plan furniture, including a sideboard and 2 bedside cabinets,
At 32.
to a collection of 15 Bing and Grondel and Royal Copenhagen animal figures.
60.
Nice.
After a lightning 40 minutes and 47 lots flying under Angus's gavel, it's the final one. The Victorian rosewood money box and the late 20th century wooden jewellery box.
This is my favourite lot off this job.
This one?
Yeah, I just love the post box. And then it's a book, but it's got secret compartments so you can hide stuff in it.
Ooh.
We start at £70 a rat. At £70 it is then. 5, 80, 85, 90, 90. The post box is lovely. At £90 it is then. At 90, 5, 95, 100 I have.
2 online bidders seem desperate to win this one.
120, it's a good thing this. At 130, 140, 150, 160, 160 it is then at 160, 170 and bid at 170, 180, 180, 180 it is then at 180.
It's still creeping up.
190, 200 bid, a bid at 200, 210, 210, 220, 230, 240, 240, 240, 250,
Do they
250.
know something that we don't?
£250 it is then at 250. We're all done at £250 for the post box money box. I'm going to sell then the gavel is up at 250.
Sold to one very determined internet bidder.
That's excellent, isn't it?
That's a walk over the Sydney Bridge.
All the money raised today will be going towards a family trip to Australia to see Grace's sister. Time to go out back and find out the total.
There was a few good results.
Yeah.
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 All in all, you're fairly happy with how it went?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I got very emotional over the medal. I didn't expect anybody to bid on it, but I'm glad that somebody else will enjoy it.
How much is a ticket to Australia?
A lot at the moment.
So you'll be taking home £2,560.
Wow. So that's so much more than I was expecting, I have to say.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Grace got quite emotional seeing her granddad's medal sell, and I totally get that. I think for Diane, it was more about somebody going to appreciate it and would display it, as opposed to it being sat in a drawer and not being looked at. So I think that was tough for her, but all in all, some good results, and I think they should be both happy, and it's going to get them partway to Australia anyway.
It was a really good amount to achieve. Thank you very much to Angus, and it's quite a buzz in the auction room, isn't there? I might be making a few more trips up here and start filling up my own house.
5 months later, and Diane and Grace have been busy.
Following on from the auction, we went to Australia over Christmas and the New Year. We went to the Barrier Reef, walked over the Sydney Bridge and had a fantastic time.
And there's more. After the auction, Diane and Grace found out that one of the bidders decided not to go through with the sale.
So we have had a turn of events with one of our items, and we were fortunate enough to get a precious item back, which I really didn't want to lose. And here it is, my granddad's medal, and it's now in safe hands and no more auction houses for it.